Today we're going to talk about why you always have to get worse before you get better in any area of music, including songwriting, playing, improvising, how this works, why this happens, how to think about this period of time, which, by the way, happens to everyone, and how to get through it as quickly as possible so you can take your music, writing and playing to the next level quickly and with very little pain and effort. Here we go. So when you learn music theory is like a tool. It's like a hammer or a nail gun or a saw. And if you're going to build a house, you could show up and build a house without any of those tools. And in fact, there were times in history where people did not have hammers and saws and nails and things, and they built houses just fine. Similarly, people who have a rudimentary understanding of music can write good songs. Yeah, that happens. It's true. You don't need to study any music at all to write a song. But studying music helps a lot for writing songs, not just one song, but writing many songs and writing many compositions too. So if you've ever heard of an artist who wrote a really good song and then everyone went up to that artist and was like, yo, how did you write this song? Like, did you study for many years before producing this piece of genius? The person's like, well, no, I didn't. I just kind of wrote a song. And then that artist who wrote the amazing song went and learned some things about songwriting. They took a couple music lessons, and then they go back to everyone and they say, guys, I just took music lessons. Now my songwriting's worse than it was before. Music lessons don't work. My natural genius is untouchable. Of course, they rarely write a second song after that, but that's beside the point. They go to everyone, hey, listen, I tried it. I tried learning things, and all of a sudden my songwriting is terrible now. Well, what happened there? Let's explore and understand. What happens is you're at a level here, right? And it's like everything you know, and you're using everything you know to the best of your abilities. And what happens is when you learn a new thing in writing a song, like you learn about rhyme schemes, or you learn about, well, perfect versus additive and subtractive rhymes, all of a sudden, because you're thinking rhyme scheme, because you're thinking additive and subtractive rhyme, your output or the quality of your songwriting takes a dip. And that's because you're learning to integrate this new information into yourself. You're learning to use this new tool. If you were used to building a house just using a saw, and you never used a hammer before, and then someone handed you a hammer, it would take you a couple days, a couple hours, maybe even a week or two to really incorporate using that hammer in the most efficient way to save you the most time, in addition to using that saw to build your house. Now, this goes also for learning music. People who improvise, people who read music, everything. As soon as you learn something new, always, for everyone, you take a dip. It always happens. And that's because whenever you're doing anything in music, you're doing multiple things just to do one thing. So for example, to play guitar and read music, it's left hand, right hand, it's counting, it's knowing the names of the notes, it's knowing the rhythmic duration of each note, and then on top of that, it's reading in real time, it's reading ahead and actually playing the notes. So you're doing like 7 or 8 things all at once. And what happens is, as soon as you add in a 9th thing onto that, all those 8 things, because you're already doing 8 things at once, it's like you're spinning a bunch of plates. You're spinning a bunch of plates, and as soon as a plate starts to fall, it's like, oh my God, all the other plates start to fall, and you got to go back and keep all the plates spinning. So it is 100% normal that whatever you're doing in music, whenever you learn something new, that you take a dip. That dip is normal. But what happens is, you were here, you take the dip, when you come out of the dip, you're going to be at a whole new level. So that's the process. You're always going to take a dip creatively, but then you're always, after you incorporate those new tools into yourself, you're going to have even more freedom of expression. You're going to have even more options. You're going to have more colors and indeed, as I said, more tools in your tool belt with which to express yourself. When you are in this period of experiencing a dip in your output, in your playing or in your writing, you have 2 choices. The first choice is to turn around and run back to safety. It means you're going to stop trying to learn new things. Whatever the new thing is, you're going to put it down. You're going to forget about it. In this case, take 1, maybe 2 weeks off of playing seriously or writing seriously. Just give yourself some headspace. Go do other things. Come back to it. And you should find yourself right back where you started before you started to learn new things. Now, this does mean you're not going to grow as quickly. It does mean you're not going to evolve as quickly, but you can still find your way to growth through this process. Now, the second choice that is available to you is to double down. As soon as you experience this dip and you feel that the output of your songwriting or your playing is not where it used to be, it's time to double down. You've got to hyper focus on this new thing that you're trying to learn so you can understand it forwards, backwards, sideways, understand it from every single angle. Because once you have that complete intellectual understanding, that's going to speed up the process of you actually integrating that new information into your process of writing or playing, and then that's what's going to take you to the next level even faster. When you take this dip, it feels uncomfortable and it feels, well, really bad because you just had a moment where you understood where you were at in your music journey. You're like, oh, I'm here. Everything makes sense. And then you started learning this new thing and you took a dip, and that hurts. It's painful. You can also be scary. Try to get through that period as fast as possible. Push yourself through it, get through it, and then you're going to be at a whole new level in your music journey. That is how learning music works. To get your copy of the 13 things everyone needs to do to get better at music, check out the link in the pinned comment below.